thing I wanted to share with you guys. I'm working on a client right now that I had a relationship with. I used to drive for a medical transportation company. So I was in really good with the owner. I went over to show my new car to him the other day, and I asked him if he was paying rent to the owners of his building because there's three separate companies in the
Hmm.
space. So he's looking actually now because of me to buy his building. And so I want to put him through the program. I've already reached out to Prime, talked to John this morning. He needs help on his down payment. So I'm just piggybacking on what Carlo and you guys just talked about. And now I don't feel as anxious about, getting him to do the FPN and getting him to see what he can clear for his down payment, if that's going to work. You guys share with me on, is this a good program for him if he qualifies for it?
I think he's a perfect client, Tom.
So let me just recap what I think I heard. So you've got a client that either has a strip mall or a multi-unit property, commercial property,
For like
and
560,000. He's going to need at least 150 to
right.
200.
And so he's looking to purchase it, or he owns
Yes.
it free and clear and wants to refi.
No, he wants to purchase it.
Okay. And so you're going to try to finance that, and you've reached out to John to help with the financing. And so
Yes.
for some percentage or some portion of the down payment that he's going to need, you're wanting to know kind of what that looks like, and if a Business Pro solution would help somebody like that.
Absolutely.
So I think that the answer is it's almost always yes, but then the real question kind of becomes, but what does that look like? In other words, does it make sense? So I think you guys know that Business Pro almost always makes sense for a client. Why? Because it's always going to allow them to access financing that they probably can't get on their own. It's probably going to help put them in a better position to qualify for more funding and more lower cost financing. So, as they work with you and us, they actually become more and better qualified. So in all those senses, Business Pro kind of is almost always a yes. The caveat would be that this is similar to an acquisition deal. So if somebody comes and says, I'm buying a Jimmy John's franchise and, I need this much money to buy it, and you put them into Business Pro, and that the only thing they wanted was the acquisition financing or the down payment to get it. And then 6 months later, there's not enough money to acquire their Jimmy John's, then that didn't work, right? Because, acquisition financing is that's a transactional by nature kind of demand or need. And, Business Pro isn't designed to be forced into a, kind of transactional box that says I'm buying this car and I have a closing on, June 20th, or I'm buying this house and, if it closes by the end of the month, we're looking at closing on, June 28th or whatever. Well, that's a situation where everything has to happen by a certain time. And, so it's a transactional, situation. And in that scenario, everybody kind of has to get on the same page and perform under that. Boss and Business Pro isn't, kind of project specific financing. It can accommodate any of those kinds of transactions, but I don't think you or we are selling this based on a project specific request.
No.
If somebody's buying a really expensive car or they're buying whatever, we can probably help them with it, but we wouldn't want them to then go under contract based on this providing them all the money they need for that project specific transaction.
Okay.
Right? Because working capital and financing like this tends to be something that you get before you need it, and you normally want to get more than you think you need so
Mhm.
that then you can be in a constant state of readiness, so that then that deal, the next time it comes around, you can do that, and you can do as many of them as you know have the capacity to do over time in whatever business that you're in. So I think the part that would make me, so the answer is yes, but the asterisk is what makes me nervous, right? Is
Right.
then if you attract a client who doesn't understand what we're trying to do, and all they care about is buying the Jimmy Johns, all they care about is 153,000 and $912.72 that they think they need to buy the commercial property. That's all they need and all they care about. Then you're probably don't have the right client in that sense.
Yeah, no, I do understand. I've been analyzing him as it pertains to he wants to, and we had a conversation. So, in order to really get good clients for us in the boss programs, we have to see if this is going to be a longevity relationship that we're going to be able to help and educate people on ongoing properties or projects or things like that, right?
Well, let me jump. Can I jump in there?
Mm-hmm.
So probably, right.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It felt to me like you were going down a path where you became the educator, and I don't think you need to do
No.
that
Yeah,
necessarily,
no.
right? Um, and so, yeah. But go ahead. I cut you off.
I think it's more okay, why am I building this relationship with this person? He didn't just talk about his one project. He's
There
talking
you go.
about
There you go.
flipping at some point. And
Yep.
I mean, he's been a business owner forever. So you figure you have to know who you're talking to and what their ideas and goals and things like that to see if our programs, I mean, for
Yep.
businesses, I think our program works for a lot of people and they just don't
So
know
yeah,
it,
so
to
then
be
what you can
honest.
do is you can wrap it around any of their project specific and transactional needs that they have, or
Mm-hmm.
you can weave it into the rest of the funding plan that you and John put together, to
Mm-hmm.
kind of meet their needs. And so in that sense, then you had me at hello, so to speak. Yeah.
So I guess what I need to find out then is too is once we do the FPN and I interview him, and once we get the plan back, how long does it normally take for funding?
Well, remember that kind of depends on the qualification. So,
Oh, of course, yes.
yeah, I mean, a platinum who's graded a 1 is going to be a different answer than,
Mm-hmm.
LC 2020. So, and we have that module inside of the CSP that's
Mm-hmm.
designed to kind of give you a little bit of that
Oh,
timeline.
good, good. Mm-hmm.
And so if you go to the PG section of the CSP, that's also designed to kind of give you the targets based on their income and credit that they bring. But remember, that's designed to show you some of the unsecured working capital. That's not designed to show you, some of the money that John might help you with and things like that.
Okay, okay. Perfect.
Excuse me.
Thank you so much. I'm happy that you guys allowed me to share my excitement because I.
Kirk, go ahead. I think you were next.
Yeah. Could you please tell me what LCHUP plan is?
Yeah. The HUP plan. Yeah, we do that to
Our
confuse
our
people.
our acronyms. Oh my gosh, we're gonna put out a dictionary. It's gonna be like 40
Yeah.
pages long.
Yeah, I knew I would find another. I knew I would find another CSP that snagged me on that last time. So I got it this time.
It's partially designed to kind of let people know that there's a plan behind the scenes that's designed to meet their needs, but it stands for LenCred High Utilization Plan. So that would be a detail of the type of funding plan that our team would put them through. And I don't think you need this at the sales level, but we do have one or two lenders who, for their credit cards, most of you know, a normal credit card, if Brian applies today, and you apply today, Kirk, and let's say Brian's car application goes into pending and yours is immediately approved, Kirk, and then 3 days later Brian's also approved, but it was just took a few days. Normally with most credit cards, each of those approvals, yours that was instantly approved and Brian's that was approved 2-3 days later, normally with most credit cards, those take 3 to 6 weeks to then hit your credit report. right? Just that's the normal lag time. With our HUP plan, we have one or two lenders who, if they're immediately approved today, then tomorrow that new credit card shows up on their credit report. It just shows up, overnight and immediately. I mean, by immediately, we mean overnight. And what's that got to do with why does that matter? Blah, blah, blah. Well, with a HUP plan, more than likely that client you're talking about, Kirk, was a little bit excessively utilized. Utilization might have been in the 30s, might have been in the 30s or 40s, and or higher. Then that means that if the percentage was higher, the dollar amount to bring it down probably wouldn't be too excessive, right? Meaning, if that person got a $4,000, $5,000, $6,000 credit card, it probably could impact utilization in a significant way, more than likely. And so again, if you think about that, if I apply today, and the primary lender that we're talking about, they actually have a decent threshold for approving people sometimes with higher utilization. And so now if I apply today with that lender and I'm approved, tomorrow the new credit line and the new trade line shows up. So my utilization comes down tomorrow, right away. So HUP meaning high utilization plan, I'm a little bit excessively utilized. If I go to that lender, I get approved today, tomorrow we can finish the rest of the plan, because tomorrow, if we do the rest of the applications after that new trade line showed up, the utilization percentage has come down below the threshold that those other lenders are going to need to see in order to proceed with the plan. So it's a way in the weeds detail of the intricate nuances of how to execute a funding plan with, a little bit of precision and know-how that, just again, it tweaks the odds of success in our favor.
Okay.